Will they fire me if I don't?
They didn't
I hope. No.
Yes.
Okay. Two board members.
Do you feel he's done an option?
You know what I mean? Yeah, nope. Somebody go by the way. Nope. Just slow your phone on, or just get.
And he's coming?
Yes,
Just
I'm
like 2
coming.
months?
No, you probably don't know. Me and Matt over yet.
Well, I guess it is 6 o'clock. I think we'll go ahead and open the meeting with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's probably the most important part.
Is Kellen here? He's on here.
And Denny was coming, correct?
Denny's on vacation.
Okay. Okay, do we have any,
Roll call.
oh, roll. You just do this.
Roll call vote. Mark Stanley.
Here.
Jeff Jeffco.
Here.
Richard Lekowitz.
Here.
Josh Schneider. Here. And I currently have Denny and Kellen absent. No, it's you.
I can do it now? It's okay. Do we have any additions to the agenda? Guess not. So now we'll approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Now we'll swear in the new village treasurer, Angela Dower.
You need, there's a cheat sheet. Okay. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Angela Dower,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of
the
Illinois,
laws and ordinances of the Village of Shabbona,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Shabbona,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of, go ahead.
okay, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Village Treasurer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Very happy to have you.
Thank you, Angela.
You could sign that before you leave.
Okay, did we have everybody? Yes. You got people signed up. You want to bring that? Richard can, or citizens addressing the board. Laura Jeffco.
I'm here again to address the issue of pets. And I submitted a letter to everybody with the different ordinances for the surrounding areas, which is what the previous village president had asked that I do. And I just want to see something addressed for, pets, because, like we say before, we have 6 large dogs that live next to us who have come into our property and tried to attack our dog twice. And, there are a couple of them who know to circumvent the underground fencing for the house, and so they come up on the side of the house, which is next to our driveway. So every time we leave, it happens to be on my side of the car, but it's always a question on whether or not the dogs will continue to come over onto our property. I submitted 2 pictures, and one of them shows where we have the live ox, and then we have a metal fencing there, and the dogs clearly over onto our property. And as I think I told most of you guys, during the second incident, I did call county because they were up on our deck trying to get my dogs. I was trying to get him into our house, and so, you know, they had mentioned to call them, you know, but I realized that that is a financial burden to the town. Should I call like yesterday morning when they were out barking and fighting at 6:30 in the morning, or when we go out into our backyard to do anything at all, or on our deck, if we hang up our laundry? We're always alerted to the dogs being there, and should they cross the fence, the electronic fencing, which I know a lot of people have, and it works, but I've seen the dogs get past it, and then it's just a nuisance. And so in the different ordinances for the different areas around here, they do address things, because we've always had pets. We've had dogs, cats, rabbits, things. So I'm not an anti-pet person, but I would like to see some type of ordinance or some way to see this addressed that that would address the number of dogs that you can have permanently at your facility. I know, you know, some of these that I looked up and I've shared talk about the exceptions, like if you're puppy sitting, dog sitting, you know, having the dogs, or if you have dogs who have puppies, you know, with giving them 4 months before you get rid of them. But this is getting to be quite a nuisance for us. We had a businessman come to our house last week, I think it was, and as he was walking along the east side of our house, he noticed the smell of dog feces that happens to be along the side of the house that they never pick up, and so, you know, it's a smell, it's the constant barking, the dogs fighting among themselves, like when they're trying to get out of the fence to get over to our dog. So we've done precautionary things where we've taken our dog and we've transferred his lead from the west side of the house to the east side of the house. We've shortened his lead so he's no longer able to get around the deck. But it's any time it seems like we open our patio door or our sliding door and the dogs are in the garage and they can come out, or they put them out, that it's a constant barking. And I know when I addressed them with the previous board, they said, well, 1 dog can make the same amount of noise as 6 dogs. And if that's the case, then I invite anybody to come over to our house, to our driveway, to our backyard, while there are 6 dogs who are fighting among themselves, trying to get our attention or our dog or something. So I'm hoping that the village will do something to address it. And like I said, you know, we've had pets all the time. It's not that I'm against pets. I just think that it needs to be a reasonable expectation for pet owners when you're living in a town. So, thank you.
I'd like to add something. I live 2 doors down, fortunately not next door, and it feels like we're living next to a kennel. There's that many dogs.
Okay.
So I guess my question would be, because I know we employ through the county animal control. Have you contacted animal control at all, anybody?
No,
Why would they respond? They respond to loose animals.
Yeah, they also respond to problem animals, like especially if they're trying to get them in their driveway.
Noise complaints too?
Absolutely, or the county, the sheriff.
Okay. We have spoken with them, and they're basically saying there's really not much they can do. You know, we don't know if these animals are up to date on the rabies. I know what the cost of rabiing a dog is, and so 6 of those dogs, you know, are they up? We don't know, and they won't give us any further information.
And the one thing I do have to say is when county came out, and there were 2 officers who came out, and they were very sympathetic to what was going on and everything, but they said that I had to have proof that the dogs were up on our deck, and at the time it was, you know, our slider door, our poodle, myself, and I'm turned around trying to kick the dogs off, so there was like no way that I could video it, so I did, you know, every time we go outside, I take my phone, every time, you know, we're doing anything in the yard, it's always make sure you have your phone with you, and so that's why I did submit the pictures, but one of the pictures only has 5 of the dogs. There was one dog, one of the puppies that they got rid of, and then it returned, and then it was gone, and then now it's been there for, I don't know, maybe a year. But we have a standard poodle, and it's, I think the dogs are bigger than our Echo. They're big dogs, they're not little, like little Chihuahuas or little toy poodles or anything like that. They are big dogs, and when they are barking and growling and like fighting with each other, it's really scary to hear them and know that at any time, should they cross that fence or their collar not be charged fully, that then we're in total chaos. Which is what happened one of the times, was that 3 of the dogs' collars were not charged.
This has been going on for probably about 2 years. So this is not just brand new, this has been going on for a while.
Well,
I'm just being careful I know there may be some conflicts being, you know, so, but, you know, this has really been a nuisance, and we tried to approach it with the last village president and board and got absolutely nowhere with it. The village president was very nice to us at the office. We came to a meeting, and he was a real jerk. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's, you know, he was, you know, and then nothing happened after that. There was no follow-up, there was no anything by any means.
okay, well, Laura, I did receive her letter that's sent. And after I received the letter, I called Chief Deputy Berg at the Sheriff's Office. And he said it would be better if we went through animal control. And Chief Deputy Berg said he would contact animal control. And he did, but they haven't contacted me back yet. I contacted the Chief Deputy again today, and he said he would go through the same process. So hopefully we'll hear from animal control, and that's the way the Sheriff's Office wanted us to start through this. So
Because when
it is in motion.
when the first officer came out, and, you know, I explained the situation, and I showed him our backyard and everything, and then, the second officer came out, then they discussed it between them, and then they tried to contact the neighbors, the owners of the animals, and they refused to answer the door, so that's one of the concerns that I have about anything being done.
I think also if you get if animal control gets involved, they're gonna know whether whether the dogs are tagged or not, with updated rabies shots and everything else. And if it is deemed that they're not, you'll either get fined, because I have multiple dogs myself. I know that not from personal experience, mine have the shots in their tags, but dealing with Bethany Animal Hospital, you'll end up getting fined. So maybe this is a course of action we need to start with.
Because I'm not saying that our dog doesn't bark, because Echo will bark, you know, if somebody comes to the door, things like that, you know, so I'm not saying that, you know, I don't want it to seem like I'm complaining because they're making noise, you know, just barking, but it's,
No, I get it, I get
you
it.
know, and I'm glad that Mr. Meyer could join in on the discussion, I guess.
It's not a good situation.
We will go on is with the sheriff's office and hopefully animal control and possibly look into our ordinance, if you probably haven't looked into our ordinance.
Yeah,
So we'll,
I was gonna have a question about that. Do we have an ordinance?
we do. There, it does not state a number as far as number of pets you can have.
If you did amend it, though, it couldn't go backwards, so the person was, they'd be grandfathered into the current pets.
Oh, really?
You could say, okay, anyone over three, typically three is the number, whether it's 3 dogs, 3 cats, or a combination.
So we
thereof.
supersede DeKalb County's ordinance?
Well, yeah, you're within your corporate limits.
Okay.
So within your corporate limits, what you would be able to do is then say, you define 3 as the number.
Cause that's DeKalb County.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
You couldn't go, I
Yeah,
suppose, facto
combination.
though, and enforce it and then start fining people for having more than 3. They would be as of the date, but they couldn't replace the dog or cat. So if the dog, animal died, it's by attrition, basically. You can't just replace it and go back to 6. You have to you can't replace any animals unless you have less than 3. That's just an example. This board would have to decide what that number looks like, but that is a pretty standard. And it doesn't include farm animals, it doesn't include,
But it's a combination of dog, cats.
yeah, or one or the other. I mean, you can craft it, but it's, like I said, 3 is usually the maximum.
Right.
But you're saying that if we were to pass something in the village, the 6 dogs that our neighbor has, there's nothing we could do about that?
Well, now, you can't enforce it and say, well, you have too many dogs and pass the ordinance, because they would be grandfathered in. But they couldn't replace the animals. And there's other ways to attack the ordinance if you have a dog on the loose, if it's outside of your fence. Those are all nuisance violations that you could assert. That's valid, you could do that now.
If they bark at 6:30 in the morning?
It could be a noise violation, a nuisance violation, but not 6:30, maybe, you know, you're like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning,
10 o'clock at
6:30,
night?
7, 10 o'clock at night's getting late, yeah, after 9 o'clock at night. But that's something, then you would have to enforce.
This will be an ongoing issue. We'll see what we can do, but again, I'd like to start with animal control and see what they can do. Hopefully I'll hear from them maybe yet tomorrow. If I don't, I'll call them again. I thought going through the sheriff's office, they would probably react a little faster, but maybe they're busy, so I'll try again tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
And keep me up on it. And I guess the one question I have you tried to talk to your neighbors about it, or?
Well, when the second time when they came up on our deck and they were attacking Echo, and I wasn't really kicking because I couldn't kick, but I was pushing the dogs away. And he was just yelling at me, you know, don't kick my dogs, don't kick my dogs. And I was like, get them off my property. So that was basically the extent of a conversation.
That was the
we-
son that was saying that, that wasn't.
No, that was the father who said it, and then he said, well, my son came home from school and didn't check the not check, collars, the electronic collars that they have, and he said that's why they got out, and I was like, I don't care.
Well, they do have to stay on their own property, so again, we're kicking the can down the road a little bit. We won't kick this one very far. I'll try to get ahold of them tomorrow again if I can. Thank you for this.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening.
William, what do you got for us?
A couple of things. So on the pet ordinance, something the board might look at. I know this board's probably not the biggest fan of new permitting ideas, but it might be worth considering having something where you have a very nominal $5 a dog, sort of a $5 per dog per year type of pet permitting fee. You have to basically provide to the village the dog's chip number and its rabies certificate. That at least gets some of those basic health concerns out of the way, and Illinois law already requires that you have them vaccinated after 4 months. So it would just be the village essentially doing its diligence to make sure that the law is being followed in that regard, and collecting a very small amount just for the cost of processing something like that.
And that, excuse me, William, that would be enforced in the county though also, right? The county animal control can enforce that?
I don't know, I would imagine so.
Okay. Thank you.
On the ordinance tonight for amending actions requiring board approval, first of all, I appreciate all the work that's been done on that since it was first introduced. It's a really good step towards not doing it at all. And second, it shouldn't be done at all. Breaking this down into some simple components. Ordinances exist to regulate the conduct of citizens and their property. Using ordinances to regulate employees and or public officials either misuses the board's ordinance authority as a substitute for HR actions, or I believe it confuses the law. As to the limitations it puts on the mayor and so on, obviously I'm no fan of Frank, nor do I particularly care for Don, but the issue here is the authority of the office itself. Either this ordinance unlawfully limits the authority granted by the law to the mayor as the executive and enforcement branch of local government, where it does nothing because the mayor exceeding their lawful authority is a legal matter, not one to try and curb by ordinances. If the board has an issue with the mayor being the executive branch, there's a path laid out in law for that as well. The village can hold a referendum to essentially make the position of mayor nearly ceremonial, with the village manager hired by the board to be the enforcement branch. Lastly, there's a big issue with clarity. I imagine most of you have had issues with ordinances being confusing and their enforcement unclear. This ordinance simply stacks to that confusion onto employees, leaving questions about whether or not they can legally do something. And as far as the extent to which it regulates contractors, what about the extent to which the village contracts with the sheriff? Bottom line, if there's ordinances getting mismanaged or misenforced, then clarify the ordinance. If there's issues with employee conduct, handle that like you would any other HR issue. All that ordinance would do is add to the mess.
Thank you. Anybody got any questions for you? Okay. Brian Maloney.
Ryan Maloney. I was just curious, I'm not arguing anything, I'm really honestly just curious about what if the board member, when we had the town hall about the Kishwaukee Water Reclamation District last month, I know, Jeff, you explained your stance, but I don't remember any other board member explaining the rationale behind their vote as to yes or no. So I was wondering if the board members could just go around and explain, this is why I supported it, this is why, well, you're the only one supported, so you already explained it, but why you opposed it. And again, I'm not trying to argue, I was just curious. I wanted information from the source if possible.
Should we do that, right?
Public comments usually just one way, but I mean, it was on the record. If you want
Well,
to say it again, you can say it again.
We're trying to open things up here a little bit, so
That's fine.
if the board members don't mind, Mark.
So, doing the checking that I did, we spent quite a bit of money to upgrade or make our system, what do I want to say, more up to date. It has been cleaned out, inspected. We pay a company now monthly to come in and do it. We aren't even at 40% capacity. I feel that this was being railroaded through for the village of Shabbona, and we don't have the funding for it.
Richard?
Yeah, I just didn't see a need. I mean, basically what he said. And imposing additional costs to the citizen doesn't make any sense either.
And to add to that, we never got a straightforward answer on what the bottom line was going to be on billing.
Josh, your thoughts?
Basically the same. The only thing I would add is the utility billing amount for the regular or the average citizen would have been more expensive than what we currently are paying. And what we are currently paying is supposed to also include removing sludge and any other expected maintenance already. On top of that, the capital cost of the 1.2, 1.5 million would have been an even bigger impact on the regular bills.
And Frank, if I could just make a couple quick comments. I had made the motion last meeting to proceed with it. And I did vote yes on it. But I also, people that aren't familiar, I was on the board many, many years ago. And I remember that at that point, we were having some major problems with our sewer plant. Issues and violations. And I was not aware that we had spent all the money to fix it and to get it into compliance that we did. So even though I wanted to proceed to get the, I figured we had all the public input at that point. I probably would not be supportive, I'm not totally supportive of spending the $75,000 for the engineering and the 1.2 million potentially. I think that's something that the village may have to look at down the road. I think there's probably some good possibilities that it's gonna cost us something, but I don't think it's gonna be, that we're never gonna be able to connect to that system in the future, so. State where I was kind of at with it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You good with that?
Mhm.
And while we're, anybody else, real quick, you didn't sign in, but we want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Okay. 6A, reports and actions. Village President's report, and I've not got a lot, but I do want the people in town to know that we lost a very good friend of the village. Excuse me, he's a good friend of mine too. Bill G. He lived over in Lee, but he lived in town here for a long time. He was a volunteer fireman. He was one of the first EMTs in town. Spent a lot of time working for the village of Shabbona, not working for the village of Shabbona, but working with the village of Shabbona. He was a custodian at the grade school, and I'm probably sure some of your kids know Mr. Bill. So I'd like to just take a minute for a moment of silence, please. Okay, we'll go on. Another thing I wanted to make sure that everybody knew, and the board's thanks and my thanks again go out to John Root for taking care of the plants uptown. I'm not sure what it would cost us to take care of the plants if John wasn't doing it, and John's not here tonight. Maybe he's on vacation, I don't know. But again, thanks to John Root. And then the third thing I had, and they're not here, later in the meeting we'll go into the Compare financial grant and what we're going to do. But I found a couple experts on playground equipment. If you guys didn't know, there's experts in town on playground equipment, there is. And the two that I found are both 5 years old. So they're much more in tune to playground equipment than I am. And I thought maybe they were going to be here tonight, but maybe homework or something took precedence. But we have had some experts look into playground equipment we're going to talk about a little bit later. So that's what I've got. And I think the Public Works report is next.
Mm-hmm.
Public Works report, continued cleanup of the sewer plant, burn pile, wood chips, and compost pile. And if any of you have been by there, go by there and look at it, it's quite remarkable. Working on the lot adjacent to the north public parking lot. Use compost from the sewer plant to fill in the lot, tilled, leveled, and seeded. And they will monitor and water as needed. That's another place if you want to look and see what's going on. It's quite impressive. Cleaning up the south end of the Public Works building, all the way a lot of scrap to Whitaker's. You got $170 for metal recycling. Reorganized items on the south end of the building. Planning on moving the yard waste dumpster out along the south side of the parking lot soon. And I see tonight it is there. And this will make it easier for the residents to access the yard waste dumpster. Another thing that you could look at and see what's going on, our two public works employees, and Jerry's here tonight, it's amazing what they've done in just a short time. And I expect it to continue. They added grass seed near well number 6 to fill in where there was some unnecessary gravel. Seeded and filled in after sidewalk repairs. And the international dump truck had a power steering box that went out, and that was repaired. And that's what I've got for the Public Works report. Any questions? Has anybody seen any of the work that's gone on? Okay. And if you haven't, please take a look because it's pretty impressive. Okay, we'll have the committee reports. Infrastructure Committee, Mark Stanley.
Okay, for Dominic's request, we need that property appraised, the empty lot, and I guess it's 2 parcels, correct?
It's 2 PIN numbers, correct?
Yep. And then we also talked about maybe the parking lot too, so it wasn't landlocked. So that the public lot. I don't know, did Beth get back to you on
She
the
did.
certified appraiser, correct? That we had to have?
Yes.
Okay. That's
You
what I thought
can
you said.
dispose of a surplus property. There's a couple different ways to do it. One of them's 80% of the appraised value. Another one's an RFP, but. It's an RFP. Request for proposal. So it's a sealed bid process. Your due diligence to know exactly what it's worth would probably help. I know it's not a highly marketable property, at least from some of the discussion before. I'm not getting aspersions, I think those were some of the comments, they can't be really used for anything, but there's some in there. I got a question. Do we know what the expense of the appraisal is gonna be? Because I'm in residential, and mine can range anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Commercials are usually more expensive.
This is
Commercial
vacant land?
appraisal.
Yes.
Yes.
Be a few $100. So you think it's gonna be how much? I think a few $100. You think a few $100? Okay. I mean, I'm not, I mean, I've seen some vacant land, but not farmland, not large acreage, but. Right.
The reason why we had to have it done is whether it was gonna be donated and or sold, we had to have it done anyway.
Yeah, but my only concern is if it's gonna be cost prohibitive, if the property's not gonna be worth what we're gonna expense on an appraisal. I mean, who knows? I don't, like I said, I don't know what's gonna be worth, that's not my area of expertise. And, I mean, is that something that we can take into account in regards to finding out how much it's gonna cost to get it appraised?
Yeah, you can.
To sell it, and then if it's too cost prohibitive, we can just turn around and do
You can do an RFP.
RFP.
But then you gotta publish it.
Because again, the chances of somebody buying, a lot, that's what, 20 foot? I mean, you can't do anything with it. Because you can't build anything with it.
The adjacent owners require anything.
No.
Okay, I did go to Beth Ainsley and ask her about an appraiser,
Okay.
and she did call me back with an appraiser's name. I have not got with him yet.
Okay.
The appraiser that she gave me is out of Peru, because she's worked with him on some properties like this and thought he would be a good fit to appraise it, so.
We have put so much money into this property at this point. Why do we even need to sell it? I mean, why, you know, it's been fixed, it's been seeded, it's village property. I mean, do we even have to sell it at this point?
It's my thought that we're gonna maintain it from here on, and somebody else would buy it and take the liability. I'd be fine with that, but again, I need to know
Right.
what it's worth, if it's worth. I know to date, we've got well over $50,000 in that piece of property.
Yep.
And I'm sure we're not gonna get our money back.
Yep.
So,
So if we just keep pouring more money into it, we're gonna get less back.
and that $50,000 is not with any labor involved either. We had quite a few hours of labor, so I think the appraisal is probably the best way to go.
Can we, I guess the question that I would ask, when you get with the appraiser, is what is a usual cost for a vacant piece of land? Just.
And it's not just one property, right? We're talking about.
There's two PIN numbers, but the properties are adjacent. And one's between the apartment building and the library. And I'm not sure how much property the village owns there. 20 feet by the length of the.
Right.
So it's probably not worth a lot either. Good idea, I think, to find out if it is worth anything. Or maybe it's
Yeah,
one
get
of
a
those.
quote for something, find out how much safer it is.
Yeah. Before we can do anything.
Okay, I will get with the appraiser
Nah, all right.
and get an idea price wise.
I think that's
I'll get
all.
back to you.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. How about the development committee? Josh, because Callan's not here to report on anything at the finance committee, but what do you get?
So the main thing for now would be, we came up with a list of additional items to add to the items that don't require a building permit. It's on page 3 of the board packet. I don't know if we want to have a discussion or additions or removals from it. So the top part is what we currently have, and then the bottom part is what we're looking to add.
Did you get a chance to read this?
So I guess the bottom part is what you're looking to add to not requiring a permit?
Yes.
Okay, did you discuss any of this with our inspector? Okay. And then, under replace of HVAC equipment such as furnace, boilers, air handlers, and condensers, is that including or not including water heaters?
I would say we would include water heaters. Maybe we should add that as a explicit thing.
Okay. I think before we voted on any of this, we would run it by our building inspector,
Okay.
so he could give us the ins and outs of what he sees on a daily basis. I'm not opposed to it, but
Yeah.
I'm offering that up to recommendation.
Anything else, Josh?
That's it for now.
So in lieu of getting a building permit for these areas, are we gonna require that people be licensed and bonded to do these projects? Or is it just up to the homeowner to?
There is an ordinance later on in the agenda regarding this. In my opinion, we shouldn't require a license, but I think we should wait till later on in the agenda to discuss that.
You shouldn't require a license for what? To be
Well, for
licensed.
plumbing, you would have to have a license for state law, but like most other things you don't.
I think electrical also, if you're not doing it yourself as a homeowner, you have to be licensed and bonded.
I don't know about a state law requiring that, but I could be wrong.
That's why I said we need to run this by our
Sure.
inspector.
Anything else, Josh?
No, that's it.
On development, there's gonna be a meeting on 10/14 at 6 PM.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Here?
Here.
And I think that one is mostly to discuss the comprehensive plan that's we currently have, and anything else that we come up with to discuss.
6 PM on the 14th of September, or October.
Yeah.
I think so. That's what John says, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then, the Public Affairs Committee, which Denny is the chairman of. Denny's not here. Josh, I guess you're on that committee. Can you speak to any of that?
So mostly we talked about the Winter Festival this year. We recommended that the village does that. There is a resolution for that we can do. We're talking about adding more signs to the village to hopefully get more traffic to downtown, draw people from the park to downtown more or less.
Okay, and I do know that Denny's working on that part of it, so.
Yeah.
I've had a request to see if the village would be willing to move the time on the festival an hour earlier, go from 3 to 6 to 4 to 7. Reason being, the Knights of Columbus in Lee has had a Christmas auction dinner that they've been doing for 15 years, and this is kind of in conflict with it. So I don't know, as far as the plans for it, I've been asked to see if the village would be willing to do that so that there's not a conflict between the two festivities.
We kind of need to know that if we're gonna do that, because the Winter Festival's going out in the newsletter in a week and a half.
So I guess we should decide.
Is it gonna be dark by 6 to 5? Or could lighting the tree and the lights,
We usually do the tree lighting at 5.
Oh, okay.
We usually do 3 hours, because we try to attract whatever we can from vendors and crafters. There's usually a good turnout for the bake sale that the church does. The Santa line periodically could be long.
How long have we been doing it on this date?
This will be our 4th one.
4th year.
We do it the first Saturday because weather is better earlier in the month than later in the month.
Alright.
And Lee does something the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Guess moving it up an hour wouldn't create a big problem.
What time does the Lee thing, or the church thing run for?
It starts usually, dinner starts at 6. And the auction and stuff goes at about 7.
Yeah, if we light the tree at 5, it doesn't really matter, we'll do it from 3 to 6.
Last hour was pretty dead last year. There wasn't that many people. after 6 o'clock last year. In my observation.
Don't know, do we need a motion to, move it up an hour from 3 to 6, or just do it from 3 to 6? I guess I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to do it from 3 to 6.
In a second?
I'll second.
Is this also a motion to approve $50,000 budget? Or should we do that later?
I think we can do that a little bit later,
Who seconded? Thank you, Richard.
yeah. Cause all I need is a voice vote. All in favor?
I'm
Opposed?
abstaining. And the reason I'm abstaining, people don't aware, I'm the Grand Knight for the Knights of Columbus and Lee. But I've been involved with the dinner auction for the last 15 years. It's been brought up at our meeting to do this, so I'm going to abstain from
Okay, well,
voting.
I guess at that it would pass 3 to nothing and with one abstention, and I think it's probably a pretty good thing to do that. Okay, D would be the sheriff's report.
Oh, resolution.
What'd I forget? Good thing you're, huh?
Budget resolution for the festival.
Budget resolution for the festival. You should sit closer to Jen, then you guys could just take care of it. We do have a resolution to approve $2,000 for the budget for the Winter Festival. In past years, most of it's been paid for by donations of
Sponsorships last year covered $1,000 out of just under $1,300, so the village expense was like $250.
so
Previous year was a little higher, but we bought a lot of lights.
So this is like a backstop. I mean, we're still gonna take donations or
Sponsorships, yeah.
sponsorship.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion.
So I guess I'd ask for a motion to approve. What am I at here?
Jeff made it.
I just made the, yeah, I
You
made
made
a
it.
motion to approve the resolution 25-09-18R2.
Okay, could I have a second, please?
I second it.
Okay. We'll have a voice vote, roll call, please.
Roll call vote. Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Richard Lekowitz,
Yes.
Joshua Snyder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, now we can do the sheriff's report, can we? Okay, you guys? Okay, but-
Public Affairs, the next meeting's October 15th at 6 PM.
October, I'm sorry,
15
October 15th.
at 6 PM.
Sounds like we're gonna be busy then. Is, any questions on the sheriff's report?
Is that what we've been averaging? Or that just seems a little high to me? How many hours
It
do we want?
varies a little bit every month, but not much, that's about right.
What about it?
Now they've been stepping up their game a little bit.
I would add that, again, I talked to Chief Deputy Berg and asked that he do some extra patrols on Preserve Road and the highway and with the semi-trailers, the garbage haulers. And they have stepped up their game. The previous month, they had 4 traffic stops. This month, they had 12. And the concentrated patrol, they had 31 cases of that versus 28 the month before, so they are working at it. I think we can do some more, but it's going in the right direction. Any questions on the sheriff's patrol? Any more questions on the sheriff's patrol? Okay, now we'll go to E, to the village clerk. See if she does it.
approval of the board minutes from August 21st, 2025.
Everybody had a chance to read through the board minutes?
Yep.
Okay, ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second? Roll call?
Yes.
Roll call.
Roll call vote to approve the minutes from August 21st, 2025. Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Richard Lakowitz,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Josh Snyder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Keep going, it's your show.
Zoning and building permits, the spreadsheets in the package, for you to review. Where the dark line is, I probably said this last month, after 2514, that is where we switched to our new building inspector. So that's all things he's reviewed. You haven't had any requests for inspections yet, so permits are issued for 1 year. Zoning board planning, any questions on that? And zoning board planning commission recommendations, there was a zoning board meeting on 9/3 for 2 variances. The first one would be 501 West Comanche. The advisory report is in the package. That is the notes from the minutes and the findings of fact that was done at the meeting. The zoning board planning commission recommends amending the zoning for this property from C2 service retail district to mixed use district with no conditions. They also recommended updating the official zoning map to reflect this change. And the reason for this is because it's an apartment building, but the east end of the apartment building has a retail space. So it falls under mixed use instead of a residential R2 for multifamily.
And this came up due to a sale of the building?
Yes,
And
the appraiser called, the realtor called, the attorney for the seller
So it's a
called.
lending requirement.
So the lending requirement that the zoning matches the use of the building. And the zoning changed after this building was built and sold a few times.
Okay, so I look for a motion to approve resolution 2025-09-18R3.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Yeah. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote, Joshua Snyder,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Richard Lekowitz,
Yes.
and Mark Stanley.
Yes.
Motion carried. I'll notify all the players tomorrow if they don't call me first. The second one is for 506 West Cherokee Avenue, and that is for a variance for the front setback. That house was built prior to our current ordinance for the 30 feet. It was built with a 29-foot setback instead of a 30-foot setback. Their new front porch is going to be deeper than it is now, as well as wider, and it will create a 22-foot front setback. Marshals are here if you have any questions for them about their plans. It's gonna get re-sided, it's getting some new roof, so it's kind of all gonna blend in naturally and create a nice big southern style front porch kind of deal. So, the zoning board planning commission recommends to approve the front setback variance for the new front porch. They put with the condition of prohibiting future conversion to habitable space like a 3-season room or closed off room without applying for a variance to do so. So it's the board's decision whether to approve with or without the condition.
We do have the opportunity to not approve the condition on there, but the zoning board, if you're okay with it the way it is.
We have no plans of enclosing it or anything. We have a 4-season room on the back of the house, so we don't need one on the front.
Okay, and if you do, you just realize you'll have to come back to the board
come back.
for. Yeah. Okay. I look for a motion to approve resolution 2509-18-R4.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
I just need to specify with or without the condition. The motion.
The homeowner said that with the
With is
condition.
fine.
With
Okay.
conditions, fine with us.
Going too fast for you?
Nope, I'm just going-
Okay.
Ready for the, I'll go with. Roll call vote to approve 506 West Cherokee's variance. Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Richard Lakowitz,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Joshua Snyder.
Yes.
Motion carried. I will double check with the building inspector tomorrow to see if he had any additional notes or anything.
Okay.
And then I'll proceed with, based on his response, it might be Monday, and I'll proceed with your contractor for the building permit process.
All right, excellent, thank you.
You're going.
We're trying.
Okay. 3, the Shabbona pathway and
So-
building Shabbona together updates.
There was no pathway meeting in September, it was canceled. The committee's waiting for a response from IDOT regarding a local projects funding grant that was applied for to do the match that the pathway needs to do the next leg with the ITEP grant that was awarded. As of this week, we've been told that the grant awards will be announced in the first part of October. So we're hoping that we know by the October 11th pathway meeting. So we're on hold. Once they're announced and we know what's going on, I'll update you. Building Shabbona Together update, they continue fundraising for the OSLID grant match for Purdy Park. They're still gathering shade structure information as of this week. Hopefully we have some final stuff ready to go so that we can coordinate with the village to present it in October. And the next bi-monthly directors meeting for BST is October 23rd. That's all I had.
Any questions? Either one of those things? Okay, then we'll go to item 7, approval of bills and payroll for September 2025.
I had a couple of questions on this one. What is the last line item, Water Bosch and Amen LLC?
There are, auditor.
Is that done or are they still working on that?
It's getting close. I'll have the first review. I talked to her today, hopefully the first week or 2 of October. By the end of October, everything should be final and they'll present it to the board, at the November meeting.
I have a question. What's the alley design that we're getting billed for by Chastain and Associates?
That is from back in the spring, under the previous board. It was part of a contract they approved. It was a number of months late being billed to Chastain, so then to us. It was prior to this board asking them to stop all work on those projects. Because it was dated May 15th.
So are we done with that?
So there will be no more billing. This is the
And
last
then,
thing.
what's the engineering advisory service that what are we getting for that, for the $3,278?
This was a board meeting prep, drainage improvements, bid award letter. So that went back to, I think, April, March, when they did the bid award for the drainage issue. A phone call from a trustee, preparation for infrastructure committee meeting they were invited to, project update call with new mayor, project administration, coordination with seller, and fire system review per questions from Bud Four.
So we get charged, just like if we get charged by an attorney.
No.
Your bill's more?
Yeah, I bill at 0.1 increments, I haven't seen that invoice. I bill 6 minutes at a time.
Man, I'm around here, So do we hold a contract with these, or are they're contracted to us? And
We have a
is there
contract
like a
signed with
yearly
them.
contract fee with them?
If we're done with the now, though.
Well, they're still our
No, you're still very.
engineer, but they're pretty much on hold for most everything.
It does not say the others.
And we have nothing else outstanding with them that's known, I guess?
Other than a request that they mapped out fire hydrants for us from the Shabbona Road project.
That
And
should
then
have
they
been
would
done
do
at
the
the same
zoning map
time
of.
as the Shabbona Road project, or are we gonna get charged for that again?
I didn't get a straight answer on that. The zoning map will be a couple hours at,
$200 an hour.
no,
No?
no, it was the other guy's time.
$7.50 an hour.
Sorry, stepping back in the folder.
Can I volunteer to change the zoning map? I mean, I don't see any reason why we have to pay an engineer to do that.
I don't have a file that it's changeable on.
I can probably edit it if it's a PDF.
Is that allowed?
We'll talk. Sure.
Go out this time?
I didn't say that. You would allow it.
He's tight though.
It'd be somewhere
He's
between
very
$200 and $400.
I think at prior discussion, we were supposed to have already received that from them, correct?
I think so, yes.
The zoning, the fire hydrant?
The fire hydrant map, yes.
But if you call them to find out, you're gonna pay for it regardless.
Yeah, probably. Is there any other questions on the bills?
Yeah, I get a question. What do you get with the fire hydrant map? Picture of the city with pins? 'Cause we can do that.
They provided, for the GIS that we subscribe to through the county, they provided files that got sent to DeKalb County GIS. And we actually have a program, it should be on the Public Works computer too. And you can go in and see where all the fire hydrants are in there. You can see water lines, you can see sewer lines, you can see storm, and there's something else. Plus the zoning maps,
And we
part
have
of that. Mhm.
I'd like to see that,
We can set up where I can
please.
show you guys how to use it. You can
Make
meet
the
here, or
date
you can
and
bring
I'll
the
be
computer
there.
to the office.
'Cause
So,
I-
yeah.
yeah.
The
It's a pretty cool program.
fire hydrant map come up because of a ISO audit that was being done at the fire department. And we have to supply that if they want it, and they wanted it, so. Here we are, maybe, I'm not sure about the bill for it, but maybe you'll see it next month, and maybe you won't. I don't know.
Yeah, but you haven't got the updated map yet. So how you get the bill for something you don't even
No,
have?
they sent it and I submitted it to
Oh.
DeKalb County GIS. It's not a file I can open. So it's for a it's made for a GIS program.
And we can't convert that, so we have it?
Well, they sent it, we got a PDF too, but it goes into the GIS program
Okay.
too.
If we have access, you can print to a PDF and you can see where all the infrastructure is.
That may make it more ready accessible for you.
Well, I mean, we're going through paperwork all the time, every time we do a locate. So it's on the computer, if it is worthwhile, it'll save a lot of
Absolutely.
hours.
Should
Okay, that's what I'm
also,
saying.
probably could put it on the tablet too.
I've never seen it, so the only thing I got is a stack of paperwork.
Yeah, no, I totally
And
agree.
Memory from being on the fire department for years,
Yeah.
you know.
May have to step up and put it on a tablet so they can have it in the truck.
That's what I said, we should be able to put it on the tablet.
The only
too.
map I've seen of fire hydrants is the dot on the map of Shabbona. It doesn't tell you anything. So you're saying this is something different?
I don't know what it's gonna update to on the thing. I can show you guys what we have and we can work with GIS DeKalb County GIS, we can want some additional information.
Okay.
We pay a flat membership with them annually.
Okay, moving on. Is anybody got any other questions on the bills? And if not, can I have a motion to approve the bills?
I make a motion to approve the bills.
Second? Roll call.
Roll call, Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Joshua Snyder,
Yes.
Richard Lakowitz.
Yes.
I'll follow Chastain on fire hydrant charges. If there's gonna be any, because there shouldn't be.
Okay, B, the treasurer's report. It's a good thing the treasurer's here if there's any questions, huh?
That's right. Treasurer's report begins on page 27 of the board packet. We had more revenues than expenditures. So.
Good
Sounds good.
Working in the right direction. Any questions on the treasurer's report?
I know I've asked before, how are we coming on our audit?
Jen just said they're hoping to have it done in October and they'll present to the board in November.
Okay. Good deal.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
How about a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Joshua Snyder,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Richard Lakowitz.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, then we have utility billing updates and issues and concerns.
Just kind of so you know, we've sent 3 welcome letters since the August meeting to residents that purchased houses in village limits. I know there's like 3 or 4 more houses on the market now. Public Works will be reading meters by the end of the month, and my goal is to generate utility bills and prep for mailing on the 1st and 2nd of October. Cross your fingers, knock on wood.
That's it?
That's all I got.
Okay. 8, ordinances, resolutions, and proclamations. Ordinance 2505-16E, adopting Chapter 3, actions requiring board approval. Discussions on the ordinance?
Who proposed this?
I did those things.
For what was the purpose?
To make sure that we had transparency and accountability for enforcing certain ordinances in regards to court proceedings, administrative adjudication, and liens mostly.
Have you taken a look at this?
Yes. There's a couple issues, litigation should always come before, but that'll be discussed in executive session, so you wouldn't initiate, that would have to be authorized, although the executive branch is the first president's office. I guess that would satisfy some of this. Recording a lien is just, that's after you've already done, and you don't record a lien as an alleged ordinance violation, because you have to actually have a judgment of some sort. So, I understand the purpose of this, but like initiating litigation, that's typically done by the board after consulting an executive session, depending on the nature of it. If it's a defense, you don't have a choice, you're already sued. And, I suppose you can redraft your code to talk about referring outside or violations outside counsel. Because as you have right now, I don't know if you have an enforcement division. So, there's ways to massage this. The transparency is good in certain regards, but some of this falls by the wayside once you approve moving forward with litigation. You know, a lot of it's an expense, sometimes it's, like I said, some good money after bad, but a lot of times you'll, if you proceed with litigation, you don't get as much back as you put in. Because you're not always collectible, you know, from your other parties. So, I think on a case-by-case basis, this makes sense. I think overall, the idea is good, we can, we're expecting it probably clean it up, but it was much longer, and it did shrink down. I mean, but if it's a policy, this is how you want to proceed, there's nothing prohibiting you from requiring, you know, board approval for, I think, B is subsumed into A, and, you know, and so is, you know, C. And entering into settlement agreements, absolutely, as a matter of law, it would be an invalid, it's a contract, so it would be an invalid contract if the settlement agreement wasn't approved by the board. So that's a, you know, settlement agreement, payment plans, consent orders, regarding ordinance, I don't know about payment plans, but any settlement agreement would have to come before the board anyway, so that's just a restatement of what the law actually is.
Okay, so I guess my question was the fining. What is the deal with the fining employees and explain that to me.
I was just thinking it was a way to make sure people complied with it. Just like you have a fine for having.
So you're not counting out so you're not allowing people to do their jobs and do them well and not worry about getting fined, I guess, so I get up and I go to work tomorrow morning, and if I didn't close the door per se, I get a fine because it would be in an ordinance. I don't agree with fining people.
So we should get rid of all fines then in the ordinances?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'd be in favor of that actually.
I'd say let people do their jobs and do them to the best of their ability. Why do you want to micromanage people?
I think he said all ordinances should not have fines, is what he's saying. All ordinances should not have fines.
No, I'm not, that's not what I'm
That's
talking
what
about
he's,
here.
I know what you're saying, but so you understood, I don't know if you could hear him. I can barely hear him.
He's soft-spoken. We gotta get him a Mr. Microphone.
Is that what you're saying?
Well,
There should be no fines for any ordinance violations in the village?
that was what I was asking. Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm saying. The one in particular that stood out to me is we employ people to do jobs.
Mhm.
We don't employ people to micromanage them and issue fines for not doing your job. If you're not doing your job, Frank's gonna call one of these guys in and say, hey, what's the deal? Okay? Not, I'm gonna issue you a fine for not doing your job. You don't show up for work. I mean,
Is that,
what I'm saying is, come in and do your job and go home.
is it?
Right?
is
Isn't that
it
what you're
even
hired to
legal-
do?
Is
I
it
guess
even
my-
legal to fine an employee for not
I think
doing
this
the
is
job?
more of an elected official's decorum, but it has to be cleared up. No.
Yeah, but I read it in, it was employees, all employees, is the way I interpreted it.
The way I look at my job is I'm here to do whatever for all the people.
To the best of your ability with what you
I
have.
report to Frank. If I don't do my job, they're gonna complain to Frank, Frank will fire me. Simple. No fine.
Don't need
Fire me.
anybody to micromanage you. You come in, you do your job, you go home.
I think that's.
I mean,
the way it
that's,
should be.
I don't think we need to adopt micromanaging people in, with a threat of a fine.
In all the years that I was a manager and stuff, if someone did something wrong, usually they were written up.
Okay.
They were written up, and you could say, yeah, okay, we'll write you up 10 times, and on number 11, we fire you. You know, instead of throwing the number at it, but in the years that I was a manager,
So you had to start.
if I had an employee, I wrote him up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was manager for 36 and a half years of my career, and I never heard of fining employees for not doing their job. There's a disciplinary requirement. Yeah, I thought this was for violations of ordinances for the village, for residents of the village that
It's broken up in different parts.
yeah, I definitely not be I would not be in favor of fining employees.
So I guess.
Janice got a question, Frank.
I just have a question about the legality of board trustees voting to fine other trustees. Is that actually legally permitted?
You could do censure, and depending on the nature of it, like, home rule communities, I know can. It depends on the nature of the outbursts of misconduct. But
If it's
typically
ethics.
a censure.
Right. So for this ordinance, though, the specific things that a trustee would have to do to be in violation of this ordinance, would the board then have the authority to vote to fine another board
The
member?
way this is written, yes.
Don't we already have something on the books with an ordinance that you can find a trustee?
We removed that.
Oh, did you?
And so then, if the board member does not pay that fine, then the village would, to collect that money, would have to take them to the court and pay for an attorney to litigate that
If that's
violation?
how it's set up, then yes.
They just withheld my money. I was the only one that's ever been fined.
So to get past this, Josh, I think you'll look at cleaning this up, and if you wanna bring it back, then bring it back. That's fine with you. Anybody else got a problem with that?
So Josh will clean it up and Dominic will need to
Yeah, and I
redo
thought
it.
we had looked at it before and revised it, but,
That's what I thought.
yeah.
You had
There was
This
prior
was the
revision.
revised issue,
Is
edition.
this the red line, or there was a red line version?
That was this.
I'll look at it.
Okay, so we'll look at it, and Josh, you put it together, we'll bring it back if you want to. Okay, let's look at ordinance 250918A, amending chapter 2 of article section 2-21 committees.
I'd like to motion to accept this with a slight edit. I think we should have a village president or the chairperson, and appoint a trustee to a committee on a temporary basis. I'm just thinking in case the village president is absent as well.
Board appointments by nature, you can nominate, and then it would be a board appointment, or a board approval.
For committees?
Huh?
For committees?
This is just committee.
Voting?
No.
You're not voting on the committee.
We don't
Well,
vote.
you're recommending bodies, though. Even on committees, boards, anything of that nature, they will typically have an appointment and then approval.
My idea with this was we had a committee meeting, we had a couple guys absent to go on with the committee meeting. We had a board member there, so I appointed him temporarily to the committee. And I thought that would be all right.
If you don't have, so if you don't have a quorum, you can't open the meeting. And the appointment would have to be made in advance, or at a pre-ordained. It'd have to be on the agenda in advance.
Do we need that quorum at
Yeah,
a
you-
committee meeting?
I think I read about that today.
Sorry?
No, I had to do the open meeting.
Yeah. So in
How do
order
you
to
have
take,
committees then with two trustees on them? The village president's,
he's ex officio though, he's not a voting member, he's not even recommending, so it doesn't violate the quorum requirement.
for committees, even though our quorum,
It's two.
for a committee, it's two?
Well, it's a, for the Open Meetings Act, it's a majority of the quorum. So you have,
For these meetings, it's four. Four trustees.
Four trustees.
Make
Yes.
a quorum.
Right, but the majority.
No, a majority of a quorum would be three.
Would be three.
Because it would be half of the.
The quorum's
Yes.
four, majorities,
Okay.
because it has to be the majority, not just 50%. So, if you have two board members, it still wouldn't be a violation to be on there. Once, he's not a voting member on a committee, so you can have the president and two board members and a member at large, whether it's a committee member or whatever. But if you're going to appoint someone, you can't just do it at the meeting. You would have to do it at an earlier meeting, and it really should be with the advice of consent of the board.
Or not have a meeting.
Well, because if you don't have a quorum, you just can't have a meeting. If you had a village board meeting and you didn't have enough people here, or enough trustees to give a quorum, then you would have to cancel. That happened at one of my board meetings in August. There was an illness and someone was on board, and they had to cancel the meeting.
It happened with me, the old board tried to get me to not show up.
This board too?
Here,
Sure.
not this board,
Sure.
the old board.
So let me get this straight, so if we have two board members on the committee,
Right.
and can we have the meeting with only one board member?
How many people are present? Just you and another board member?
Myself, one board member, and a community at-large member, maybe. We
Well,
have three people on the committee, but only two of them are village trustees.
So you're not a voting member, you conceivably, you'd want to have the two board members and an at-large member. So you have a total of three.
Right, that's what the committee's,
So if you miss one, then you have the two of the three, so you're good. But if you miss two of the three, then you don't have a quorum.
that's the problem we had the other night.
So then you don't have a quorum, and you'll have to, whatever action you took, you just have to either ratify it the next meeting, or have the board ratify it.
Okay. Well,
But if you're gonna appoint someone, I would suggest you even have a couple extras. I know it's not easy, but
nothing here is easy, so, okay. I guess there's another one we won't.
Well, David Meyer shows up all the time, so can we do him, you wanna be on the boards?
Board?
Yeah, so when we need Phil,
Committees.
you're here all the time anyway.
The non-elected members don't count towards a quorum, do
No.
they?
I'm sorry?
Non-elected, like, at-large residents that are on a committee, do they count towards a
If
quorum?
they're a voting member of the committee, they will count towards a
But
quorum.
can they vote, though? I mean.
It's a recommending body, so they're making a recommendation.
Yeah, they're not actually voting on anything, they're
Well,
recommending.
the vote is the recommendation.
No.
It's not, they don't get to approve it, they get to vote to recommend it to the
Yeah.
board for a formal vote. I mean, we're saying the same thing, but they're an advisory board, an advisory committee, making a recommendation.
You're not
They have to vote on the recommendation.
In the committee meetings, you're not voting.
Just vote things out of committee.
Well, you're putting value in front of this board. So there is.
No, I get it.
In the same way that the zoning board.
The zoning board is the same thing, it's a recommending body, it makes a recommendation, but you have a vote, like with example, findings of fact, and your conclusions, whether or not a variation is required or not, and so on, just for that example. You vote, it's not an approval, it's a recommendation to the village board to approve the variation or whatever the zoning item is. So you're still taking a vote, you still have a vote, but it's a vote to recommend to the village.
Okay, so maybe to clear this up, you can help me, we could have a motion to pass on this ordinance?
Which, committees, you can postpone it. You can someone can make a motion to postpone, to the next meeting if you want to,
Table it.
well, tabling is an indefinite term, postpone would be to the next meeting or a date certain. So if you want to postpone 60 days to that meeting or 30 days to the October meeting, either one is acceptable. That's just the difference.
I make the motion to postpone it.
So which meeting?
Next meeting.
Motion to postpone until the next meeting, which would be.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Richard Lekowitz,
Yes.
Josh Schneider,
Yes.
motion carried.
Oh, we'll try one more. Ordinance 250918B, amending Chapter 8, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 1, adding 8.3 contractor licenses.
This is a first reading, this is not a voted in.
Okay. Have you guys got a chance to read this?
Yeah, I have a few things that I think might be considered to change. First off, I don't think you should be required to have a license to do construction work in the village unless it's required by state law. My main reason for that is we're a small village. We don't have many contractors who even want to come out this way. So if we have a contractor with one customer in Shabbona and they need to pay a, let's say, $300 registration fee, you're just charging the $300 to that person. We're just raising the cost of every project.
Okay, and?
The
Can I get clarification?
Sure.
So is this on your own personal property, or are you working for somebody else?
This is for homeowners hiring out a contractor, yeah. Not for, I think there's an exemption for homeowners.
There is an
Correct.
exemption for homeowners.
Actually, I think that was my other thing was, I think instead of homeowners, it should be property owners.
Residential or commercial? I think I disagree with that. And the reason being is if you're changing something structural or something like that in a commercial property, I don't, unless you, if it's being done by the property owner, but if you're hiring a contractor, they should be licensed.
Okay, but this exemption says homeowners are exempted from requiring a license. But if the property owner of a commercial building wanted to do it, they would have to get a license. So I'm saying we should change homeowner to property owner is exempt.
A commercial like commercial properties are treated differently under the law.
Yeah.
So like HVAC boilers, that's all goes through the state. Plumbing absolutely goes through the state. If it's structural, you have to go through, you have to be licensed. Either as an engineer, structural engineer, you're gonna have to have prints. So I mean, there's a lot of wiggle room in here. But it's only first reading, so.
So I think it needs to be reworded.
I think your concerns though
residential.
are generally a homeowner changing an outlet in his or her home shouldn't have to be a license.
Yeah.
Or if they have a handyman coming to fix the doorbell, some of the stuff you're gonna probably want them to be at least insured or a certificate of insurance on that. Or be able to present something like that.
Well, the homeowner ought to be able to do it on their own. If they're capable, they ought to be able to do it on their own.
But some of the stuff like sidewalks, things of that nature that are used by the public, those are gonna be.
It depends. I do industrial electricity, plumbing. So, you telling me that I have to hire someone for my house?
No, I see your house. We were talking about commercial before.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff, like if you're redoing the sidewalk, you're probably gonna need a license contract.
Well, yeah, because the sidewalk is technically not on the homeowner's property.
Well, if it's just going into your house, it's not on the walkway, then that's different.
So if you can do flat work, you can do
It's
flat
not
work.
publicly accessible, basically.
Huh?
If it's not publicly accessible, if it's your own private path you're doing,
I have no problem with that.
if you're gonna put a sidewalk in front of the school for everybody to use,
Yeah. No.
Yeah, sidewalk or street pavements. Most people don't have private streets.
I think the idea behind this was we were not going to require a building permit for a lot of things. And we did want to know that a contractor coming into town was insured. So we could develop a list to provide the homeowner that,
Well, not only that, it would make it quicker, and we discussed this before in the meeting, it would make it quicker for permitting, especially if you have a contractor that's registered with the village of Shabbona.
and to elaborate a little bit, the idea here was not to ask for a license fee from a contractor that lives in Shabbona or that his
Exactly.
business is in Shabbona, or maybe we expand that to Lee, you know. But anyway, we're gonna look at the contractors that were in town and not require them to have a license.
Yes.
People that were coming into town that we have no experience with, we were gonna look for a license and a fee. I kinda think that's a good idea myself.
Yeah.
Should we tweak this a little bit? Yeah, we probably should. But I do think there's value in developing a list of contractors that we know are insured. And maybe even able
First
to do
and
the
foremost,
job.
local contractors, because we have a lot of local contractors.
We do, and again, we would exempt them from any fees, and hopefully anybody using a contractor would look at the local guys maybe first. It's a way to encourage the use of local contractors, and also so we can develop a list of other contractors that we know are reputable.
Either last month or the month before, the board voted to start requiring contractor licenses. The application forms were in the packet and the board voted, pretty sure unanimously.
We voted to get an ordinance rolling to approve the licensing.
And do we want to put in this ordinance what that fee is gonna be for an outside contractor?
Well, we have to, I'd have to craft that because we're gonna need to treat everyone equally, but there may be exemptions for people when we pay, say, property tax income, because they already have a source of revenue coming in. So there's ways that you're not saying we're treating contractors differently, but they are paying taxes and fees other ways. Utilities, so on and so forth, taxes, so on and so forth, water. But you don't wanna treat, and I get the local contractor, but you also have to have some parity with respect to how their license fees are structured. Well, if there's an exemption, there has to be a basis for the exemption because they're paying some other fee elsewhere.
So I guess we'll kick this back to the development committee and Dominic to tune this up.
Yeah.
I think this is a real good idea, but we'll tune it up some.
So in July, the board approved licensed contractor registration and adding the licensing requirement to the code. So they approved, you guys approved both.
With how much? I mean, how much?
6-0.
No, I mean, how much was it?
On the forms that were in the packet, it was $100
Yeah, that's what I.
for contractor.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll hold off on the $100 fees and licenses until we get back out of committee and pass
Make
the
the
law.
amendment.
Everybody agree with that?
So can I just ask what we're doing in the meantime?
We'll not do anything, then
Well,
whatever.
I'm just asking, and Ken, I know this is it's personal, but I'm really pushing, try to get my house recited before winter. And I have an outside contractor, well, I've had one that came from Oswego, I've got another one coming up next week that's gonna give me an estimate, and I wanna proceed. So,
I would say just move on with it because we'll put it in advance until the,
but I could start the project, so I get it
Right.
done before winter.
And
Siding wouldn't require a permit
Siding.
anyway.
well, we just,
Are we gonna require a contractor, I mean, they're gonna have to have a license?
Siding didn't require a permit for the contractor, that's on the homeowner. That's on you.
and we just removed needing a permit to put siding in.
Well, it was already on
That was
Yeah.
on there from July.
Yeah,
there,
so
so,
we'll hold off on the contractor licensing until we get it out of committee and
gotcha.
pass the lawyer.
I just,
Sound reasonable?
this ordinance does not say in order to get a permit, you need to be licensed. It says in order to do anything, you need a license. So maybe we should change it to get a permit, you need a license.
That'll be on your committee.
Okay.
We'll go back to the development committee.
And depends on what you're getting a permit for, whether you need a license or not. Again, on what we've already voted on.
We know there's certain things that are gonna have licenses, plumbing, roofing, they're required by the
Electrical.
state. So,
Well, I thought roofing was one that was not recommended to have a license either.
Contractor requires a license by the state. We don't require a permit.
They just want a certificate, I think that was in the proposal,
Gotcha, okay.
the state certificate.
maybe we didn't get quite up to speed where we needed with this. So we'll try it again. We're kicking that can right down the road. Okay, let's go to B, resolution 2025-09, 18R5, approval to appoint Steve Wilhelm to the zoning planning commission. Steve's in the audience tonight?
Make a motion to approve it.
Okay, second.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Roll calls. Mark Stanley?
Yes.
Richard Lekowitz?
Yes.
Josh Snyder?
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Steve. And if anybody knows anybody else, we could stand one more on the zoning board, but you'll be a big help. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to number 9, new business. A is an EPA notice of non-compliance for lead service line. You got that in the packet.
How long's this can been kicked down the road?
Well, it's something that I was unaware of, but maybe I should have been, but I'm unaware of it.
Jen, do you know when this first came out?
So there should have been something, I don't know if it would have been our certified water operator or us, that it got missed last year. There was a required service line notice for lead lines, certification form that needed to be filled out and submitted. It's always in April. So it was not done last year, so the notice went out to 68 addresses, that includes 7 landlords for those addresses. The tenants got them as well. On 8/21, and Test Inc. submitted the certification form to the IEPA on 8/22.
So what is the immediate
So it's been
action that needs to
handled.
be done?
The only other thing that may need to happen is when we do our annual CCR, the Consumer Confidence Report, our annual water quality report, there might be a violation notice that we have to put in that, so everybody's aware of it as well.
And then that leads us into be the 2025 lead service line replacement plan notice. And that is something we need to talk about. And we're gonna need help developing the plan. And I think we're gonna need an engineer to help us develop this plan.
Who you propose to use, Frank?
Well, I propose we look for some engineering firms that would want to do this, help us with this. We've reached out to some of the other municipalities around us to see who they use. And there's maybe 3 that are used prominently around this area. And I think we should have them in and talk to them and find out how much it's gonna cost us. There's a grant available that supposedly will cover these engineering costs, but we gotta get
There is?
to it. Pardon me?
There is?
Yeah, that's what I was told. So we do need an engineer to come in
So-
here and help us with this.
We need to do something and get the plan filed this year, because the
Right.
longer we wait to do it, because it was due in April, the more the IEPA is gonna come after us,
Okay.
because it's due every April for the next, through 2027, updated versions of it.
Are they fining us, or are they just threatening us?
They can eventually, I don't know if they will.
They haven't said anything as far as a fine, but, and you can be guaranteed that we're not the only small municipality that's got this letter and has this problem, but we have to address it.
So it has to be engineered, or do we get a, plumber with the certification to come in, do the excavating, removal?
This is just paperwork.
We have to file a plan first before we can touch any.
We're not touching anything.
So we don't have to touch anything yet?
No,
No.
You just gotta have a plan?
we gotta have a
And a
plan.
timeline to the plan, but the plan gets very detailed. Mapping needs to be done, measurements need to be done. It's, the first 5 bullet points, John and I could put together, but after that, it starts getting into details that everybody who's done one has had an engineer do it, the village engineer mostly, any engineering firm, but, and they're anywhere from 10 pages long, depending on the size of the municipality. That was the smallest one I found. Everything else is running 30 to 60 pages long, depending on how many lines you have and how many years your plan's gonna cover to do it.
Okay.
I will look at different engineers.
How many, approximately how many services do we have that are on lead lines?
We have 50 lead lines is what our inventory showed.
61.
You're gonna fight with me for 11? 61. 50 lead lines, and I think we've got 11 galvanized lines.
Oh, okay.
And anything that was marked as unknown also falls under this. And we do have some things still marked unknown.
The inventory was done through a grant that the village got. And I've heard some things about the way that it was done, but the grant paid for it. We're gonna need help with an engineering firm of some kind. Recommendation, Laura, do you have any?
I don't, I can give you the names of firms that I know. I will do that. There's about 3 or 4 in the area
If you could,
that I've seen.
this is mainly to advise you that we're gonna have to go that route. And we don't have a choice. I mean, thank Grand Rapids, Michigan for this, but everybody in the United States has to do this.
So, do we know if there's any grants available to help us with,
Some of the engineers that you talk to will know.
we'll know? Okay.
So this inventory replacement plan timeline, this is table 1 on page
We
51
live on
and
that street
59
as the
of the
lead
packet.
line.
Is that what we're referring to?
Yes,
So they did the initial material inventory in April, by April 15th of 2022?
Well, they got, Shabbona, along with a lot of municipalities, got an extension on that, and it was filed by, I think, October.
Okay,
IEPA approved extensions on that. However, they missed doing the initial plan that was due.
because it says here we have until April 15th, 2027 for the updated replacement plan.
No, it has to be April 15th annually.
Oh,
It
is
should have been
annual?
done in 2024, and then 2025, it should have been updated. So we've missed it twice now.
And then it says final replacement plan submitted.
In April of 27,
Right.
and that is the one then that the IEPA is gonna hold you to for your lead line replacement, service line replacement.
Okay.
There's a lot of information about lead line replacement on the IML website, There's a whole advisory board for it. There's where I got the fact sheets that are in here. There's a ton of information. Now, large cities have already started the process. So, and the recommendation is for the smaller municipalities is figure out your plan, put some dates to it. They don't want you waiting until the last 2 years of the time frame to doing it. They want you to plan to do it sooner than that.
Nor do we wanna wait that long, we wanna.
Because 2047 is your cutoff. That's where you gotta be done. So if you have less than that, you could start, there's a lot of grants available for the replacement. So it's kind of the engineering firm will have a lot of recommendations for timing and everything too, based on
Have the homeowners been
financial.
notified that they're,
That was the note, the notice didn't go off, so that was the first IPA.
Yeah, notice has gone out. People know that you have lead lines, galvanized too, but lead lines have gotten notices. They also, most all of them get boxes every quarter to do tap water, certain addresses do. So there's more of them that are being added to that list because the mountain of boxes for the lead lines gotten bigger out there. So.
We need help.
Okay.
And tonight is just information, there's
Yeah.
some reading from Illinois Municipal League in your packet. And I think Mark, it'll probably go to your committee as far as infrastructure to interview some of these engineering firms. So.
Get us some good ones, will you, Dominic?
Yes. Like I said, I've worked with 3 or 4 that I know are reputable. And straight shooters.
Fair enough.
Okay, if we could move on, resolution 2025-09-18R6, approval to lease or buy a storage container for public works. And that's also in your packet. We're asking that you approve the resolution for up to $2,500 for this container. We got some bids in there. I think the one that I would want to accept is $1,795.
Does that include shipping?
That includes shipping, it's
I'll make a motion to approve it.
okay.
Yeah, I'll second it.
A motion and seconded to approve buying a storage container for Public Works. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote, Mark Stanley?
Yes.
Richard Lekowitz?
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco?
Yes.
Josh Schneider? Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, we'll buy one. We're getting close to the end, so. The next thing was the Compare financial grant I talked about with the expert playground people. We received a $12,500 grant from Compare Financial, and they had a whole list of things we could do and maybe a longer list we couldn't do. Jeff Cole and myself and what is your name?
Me.
Yeah, we all went to a meeting on it and submitted a plan which we had come up with to replace the slab floor in the structure in Lions Park due to a big crack in its heat. And then with the monies that we have left over is to buy more playground equipment. And we just, late this afternoon, just got word that Compare Financial was okay with our plan. So I'd like a motion to accept the grant from Compare Financial.
Make a motion to accept it.
And second, please. Second.
That would be to approve moving ahead with the pavilion floor and the playground equipment.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mark Stanley?
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco?
Yes.
Joshua Snyder? Yes. Richard Lekowitz?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, then we'll have an executive session to review of executive session minutes as provided in 4 and 5 ICLS 122C6. And before we go into executive session and everybody runs out here, one thing I did fail to mention, this is homecoming week for Indian Creek High School. Go T-Wolves. And anybody that wants to stay around can, but this is pretty much boilerplate. We're just approving executive session minutes. So thank you.
Do we need a motion to go into?
You have to make a motion.
Look at this,
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'll motion that we enter executive session.
Second.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Well, you know what, I can just email you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I have a second for that motion, please?
I'm gonna shut that off.
Do I need a voice vote or just a roll call?
Roll call. Joshua Snyder,
Yes.
Jeff Jeffco,
Yes.
Mark Stanley,
Yes.
Richard Lakowitz,
Yes.
motion carried.